Welcome in, guys. Fun times await. Sunday, game day, game 3 of the NBA Finals. Going to talk a little preview and predictions. Giannis played huge. It's not enough from the Bucks. But game 3 back in Milwaukee. We got Mason here joining us, guy by a cactus on Twitter. Phoenix Suns Twitter, NBA Twitter, Rally the Valley. Fun Times Media, of course, original web show here, or Fun Times Await original web show here, hosted by Fun Times Media, and we're diving right in. So, talking now, what does Milwaukee got to do? What's the difference they have to make? We all know, many things, but what's the biggest thing they got to do to make this a series?
Play fast, play random, play together, play in great space. Let's go play
a lot. I saw that interview with Budenholzer before game 2, just moments before the Bucks took the court. He was talking about play random, play fast, have some fun. They got a lot of adjustments to make. That's not going to win you the finals. Not against the Suns, not against the Lakers, Denver without Jamal Murray. This Bucks team, they're going to need some miracles to win the series. But tonight, how can they win the game? I think number one is you got to get Brook Lopez involved more. He's not just a three-point shooter. Budenholzer lets him sit out there and shoot threes. He's a great shooter, but that doesn't mean that's his only angle. I'd say you got to feed him the ball more. Get him in the post. Exactly. And try to get DeAndre Ayton in foul trouble early. That's step one.
Yeah, same thing. I would argue same thing with Bobby Portis. Needs to shy away from that jumper. Has got to just be more aggressive because he's decently talented. But, of course, biggest thing, Chris Middleton just has to be consistent, has to be – that disappearing act can't happen. He's virtually – the way I think of this for Milwaukee is if Chris Middleton scores 30 points, the Bucks can win this game. I think the Bucks do win this game because you can't go down 0-3.
No, cannot.
You're pretty much
absolutely can't.
To be in the finals, if you go down 0-3, you're a fraud at this point. Should have been the other team. So I think they have to win. I think Middleton has to score 30. I think Giannis is good for 30, and that's how they win. Is both those guys score 30, and Brook Lopez has like 15.
Yeah, I don't see. I was so close to betting on this game because I feel like the Bucks can't go in that 0-3 hole. I was going to take Milwaukee to win outright, but the only reason I didn't is while I do still think they'll win, I don't trust them all the way yet. The problem with the theory is Chris Middleton, he's had 20 point in 20 some change games. I think the first two games, Giannis has played well, but where's the rest of the offense even going to come from? Drew Holiday has to be better. He's just been invisible offensively.
20 from him as well.
So he's going to have to chip in and play well. Otherwise, it's a toss-up. It's going to be a close game. I'm going to take Milwaukee by 7.
Yeah, I think for sure Milwaukee wins this game. I almost wanted to go out on a limb and say they win the next 2 here and Suns win in 6, but I got to see what they're going to do in this game. I feel like Bucks are going to win this game for sure. I think Giannis puts up 30. If Middleton can hit 30 or close to that, and then, of course, the home crowd. The home crowd is really going to try to do everything they can to just not let them go down big. Like, they can't do this double-digit and then try to claw back. Chris Middleton getting hot in the third. Like, he's got to come out hot. They got to lead the whole first half for the Bucks to win.
Yeah, and let's to be realistic, for them to win these next 2 games straight, they just can't play well. They need the Suns to play bad. If Chris Paul, Devin Booker, and DeAndre Ayton play well, that's better every time than Chris Middleton, Giannis, and Drew Holiday's best. So they need the Suns to stumble a little bit.
It's bad when they don't play good enough defensively to then Mikal Bridges and Cam Johnson are now scoring 15 points plus a game, along with the other guys all scoring like 20. Can't happen. You're not going to win games.
Yeah. That's it. I'm glad you brought that up because I wanted to talk about that too. The Bucks bench. I know they're not deep, and I know they're not the best, but I thought we'd see a little bit more out of them. What do you think? What's your assessment of the Bucks bench through 2 games?
Well, one, I know Pat Connaughton was like their second leading scorer in game 2, I believe. That's what it was, which is horrible. But prior to that, he has just been god-awful. Like, he looked like a guy at the YMCA just airballing threes, getting torched on defense. And he's not a horrible player. He's actually not a horrible player.
No.
He's like a poor man's J.J. Redick, whatever. He's the liability on defense, yeah, but he should be able to give you 8 to 10 points, 12 points a game. and he hasn't. So with him being the main bench player, really, because Portis has stepped up more, of course. He's now back on the bench with Giannis starting, and then DiVincenzo's out, which is kind of huge for their backcourt. But yeah, their bench is just it's too thin, and guys don't want to show up. They're too scared. They just expect Giannis to just lift a baby lion cub like Lion King and lead them to the promised land. Can't happen. He's not even 100%, and he dropped 42. So yeah, I fear for the Bucks. Just some sad fans out there because they're just one. They're not going to get it done. There's no way they win this series, unless they win the next two, and then they have Phoenix on the ropes in Game 5. But I just don't see it happening.
And really, the other side too to talk about is can the Suns win Game 3? But how can they do it? There's really not a lot to talk to adjustments-wise because everything's going right for Phoenix. The Bucks tried to take away the inside in Game 1, and they killed them in the mid-range. So then they took away the mid-range in Game 2. That was Budenholzer's one adjustment, and they dominated from the 3. They made 23 pointers. So they're doing everything right. And the other thing is Torrey Craig is going to be a big part of it if they can win tonight, because if he plays even at 80%, that wing rotation of Jay Crowder, Torrey Craig, Cam Johnson is good enough to where you really don't even need Dario Saric after he left with an ACL injury. I looked at the Bucks roster yesterday just to confirm who is the backup when Brook Lopez isn't on the floor. Bobby Portis, that's not somebody who's going to torch you even if you're on your second string guy, third string guy. Cam and hurt Torrey can slow him down. So that really the keys to the Suns would just be keep doing what they're doing and force Chris Middleton or Drew Holiday into a bad game. If either one of those guys has a bad game tonight, the Suns are going back to Milwaukee for that last game in Deer Country, up 3-0. So,
yeah, which then I think obviously if Phoenix goes up 3-0, Milwaukee will win that fourth game. It's just how it usually goes. Nobody wants to get swept, and then that'll allow Phoenix to come back and close it out in 5 in the Valley, which is very possible. It's still very possible. I think at this point, it's still looking like Phoenix in 5 or 6 games. For Milwaukee's sake, I would say hopefully it goes at least 6 games, but there's no way Phoenix lets this go to 7 at this point. Milwaukee's just not good enough. Not from everything that I've seen. As good as Giannis is, he's not a shooter, right? So he can still score 40, but they're all 2-pointers, and then everybody else just shoots bricks and they lose. So
the other thing I noticed about the Bucks watching them these past few games is that they really don't have the DNA of a comeback team. They're really talented, the best defense in the playoffs statistically this year, but they don't have the comeback team DNA. They don't have a lot of guys who are consistently shooting lights out. So once they get behind, they're just behind the whole game. And then when it does get close, Chris Middleton at best is Devin Booker light. He's the version of a player before Devin Booker, and Giannis, his jump shot's not there yet. So you just get, if you're a Bucks fan, you get in those late fourth quarter moments and you notice that role's missing. Who can you absolutely trust on night in, night out? It's not Chris Middleton. He'll show up for half the series, but if it comes down to clutch points, I see that it's missing. Whereas even the Clippers, they at least had that comeback DNA. You couldn't count them out of games. Paul George does Paul George stuff. I just don't feel that when I watch the Bucks.
I'm looking at this screen right now. First of all, I don't even know who number 5 is for the Milwaukee Bucks, but he's guarding Chris Paul in this frozen screen I'm looking at. And concerning, it might be. Well, anyways, what I was going to bring it back to is Jeff Teague. He's not that. He's not that old.
I think that is who that is.
Bad. So Jeff Teague is another thing. A guy with playoff experience. He's only 32. He should literally be scoring 13 points a game, and he's scoring half a point a game, 1 point a game. Just unacceptable. Yeah. Really, the reason the Celtics signed him at the beginning of the year, and he was so bad that literally Peyton Pritchard took his minutes. He just sat in sweatpants, and they traded him. And now
that does surprise me a little bit.
DiVincenzo's hurt, so you need more from that. And it surprises me too when I watch the Bucks play. They play so slow. they have athletes, and Brook Lopez is a great shooter to trail, and Bobby Portis really can hit the three on trailing. No reason they don't run. They get the ball like so like low post with Brook and Giannis and just pass out or just ISO and take like fadeaways. And it's just slow. It's like a momentum killer for them. That's why they can never come back. I feel like they just play this slow mechanical. And it could be because Budenholzer's an ex-Popovich disciple and they play half court. But, like, man, you got to speed it up. When you got Giannis, Drew Holiday, speed it up.
Yeah. No, they have a lot of problems going into this game 3. They should win it, but I don't know if it's going to be to credit Budenholzer's adjustments. Maybe the Suns have an off night. Maybe finally Drew Holiday plays one perfect game, but there's a lot of questions. If I'm a Bucks fan, the Suns are up 2-0 and I'm nervous, so I can't imagine being down 0-2 and just watching, like you said, the Bucks dribble the air out of the ball on those possessions. That's the other thing too in game 2 when Giannis had that great stretch is when he goes on those great stretches, everybody else gets out of rhythm because it's 8-9 possessions straight of Giannis dribbling it in, layup or dunk. So, the rest of the team's getting cold. Drew's not in rhythm. What's his name? Middleton's not in rhythm. So then when everybody shifts over to stop him on critical possessions in the fourth, the offense just isn't in sync. So it's just a weird makeup. But they can win this game.
Yeah, they do need to pass more. I think they take too long once they get the ball on the block. Like, you can play through Giannis as your playmaker on the block, and he can pass to virtually any of the 4 guys on the court that can shoot. Like, they're the best when they play Giannis at center. And then, like, everybody else, even though him and Brook are on the field on the court at the same time, he'll be perimeter, and you just play through Giannis on the post. Because then he can one guy down low, draws a double, can throw to any of the other 4 guys. And that's ideally how they would play because he's going to beat anybody one-on-one in the league pretty much. So you have to allow that to happen and let him get a triple-double. But that's how, like, Connaughton and Jeff Teague are going to have to get involved hitting those threes because if not, it's just too many 2-pointers. It just doesn't make sense. And then I noticed Chris Middleton does take a lot of, like, weird off-balance mid-range shots that are, like, not really efficient.
Those don't work against Mikal Bridges. I mean, that works against a lot of the NBA, but Mikal Bridges' wingspan is so long, it just feels like you're guarding 1.5, like, people, or you're being guarded by 1.5 people instead of 1. So Chris Middleton should just attack the basket more, use his strength against Mikal, because if you fade away all game against Mikal, you basically have to have a perfect night to hit those really difficult shots over him.
Yeah, it reminds me of a lot of previous NBA finals, like for when Iguodala was still decent guarding LeBron for the Warriors. It affected LeBron enough to where clearly they lost. I was reading an article about it the other day where they said Hakeem did the same thing to David Robinson in the West Finals in like 94 or something. They're like, he was so long, just affected him mentally, just destroyed him, dominated. And then Scottie Pippen did the same thing to Clyde Drexler, those Portland Trail Blazers finals, just long hands in your face. Can't score as much as Jordan. Jordan drops 5. And
and you get exposed. Unless there's a second gear or like a legendary coach, if your game all year long has just been make those contested mid-range fadeaways, which that is Chris Middleton's game, like unless you have Popovich, it's you're not going to be the same all series long. So I'm really excited to watch this game play out. It's nice to know the Suns don't need to win it. And it kind of, like I mentioned to you earlier, it lets me put my fan cap on a little bit and as an NBA fan and an unbiased take and just watch the game play out. Definitely going to have to break it down and see what happens going into game 4. But yeah, they can't have away from the game and talk about that. The NBA cannot have the Suns win this game tonight. That is so much revenue lost if they go up 3-0.
Yeah, that's bad. I mean, then I mean, but honestly, though, as a Suns fan, I feel like the Suns are kind of going to be – I mean, hopefully they're not, but I feel like they'll be somewhat relaxed because exactly they know they're not going to win. And for the Bucks, it's a must-win. So that's why I think like 90% of the panel is going to pick Milwaukee tonight because it's logical that – I mean, not only do they have to, but they're definitely going to play 110%, whereas Phoenix will probably play 100%, 90%, just given the way the series is. You know, they're up 2-0. But yeah, I mean, I expect literally. I mean, Giannis is going to score 30 plus. He pretty much does every game. I think he averaged over 30 this year. Um, and then you just need Middleton. If Middleton can score 30, and you get like just 15 from a third guy, just fit either
Drew
Brook
Holiday or Pat
or Jeff
Connaughton.
Teague, Pat Connaughton, just 15 points. They'll win the game, and then they can feel better about game 4. Let me see if I can throw some of this up here without losing too much quality. So we
Yeah,
can get
bounce it
some of
up.
it on the screen.
Just under 5.5 here in the fourth. Antetokounmpo off 1 foot. It's good.
But yeah, I mean, this is your stretch. You got it to 6 points. This is when Milwaukee has to close, and they just
Oh,
don't.
this was a big offensive rebound
Second
right here.
chance, third chance, and then an open 3. So this is why they lose.
DeAndre Ayton he's been so big in this playoffs, and I just want to mention he was so inconsistent in the
Look
regular
at that.
season.
See, you have Chris Middleton taking a contested left-handed floater with 2 guys in the paint.
And Mikal Bridges just so slippery, deceivingly slippery.
He's able to clean up the rebound. Call the drive.
Yeah, I mean, this was
Bang, Jay Crowder. Here's a couple of things I noticed about Jay Crowder is if he takes one dribble before he shoots, he just bricks it. But if he just catch and shoots it, he hits it every time.
Yeah, it's the Bucks' inability to literally just capitalize when they cut it close. Like 6 points with like 5 minutes left, that's so doable. And they just took bad shots and didn't rebound. So
Yep. Got out rebounded. Ayton, you got to credit Ayton to some point. It's not like they're just choosing not to board. Ayton is really been big late out there. They got to find a way to get him in foul trouble and make the Suns one-dimensional. And I mean, the Bucks will blow this Phoenix team out if DeAndre Ayton leaves the game in the third with foul trouble. It will not be close. So that would be an angle I take.
Yeah, that's why I thought this series would go 7 in the beginning, because I was like, they have the size between Giannis and Brook and Portis, 3 guys that should be playing aggressive to get and keep Ayton in foul trouble. So I was like, matchup-wise, it seemed like a perfect matchup if the Bucks played to their potential. Of course, Giannis got hurt a little bit then, and then like Chris Middleton disappeared. But if they play to their full potential, it's a good matchup.
Right.
So both teams obviously missing a little bit. I mean, DiVincenzo's out, Saric is out. But still, yeah, it's just they're not at all playing to what they did in the regular season. So if Middleton can play consistent again, Bucks can make it a series. They can win. They can win 2 here in Milwaukee. I think when they played the Hawks, they went down, I think, first, and then they
1-0. They went down 1-0, yeah. I just don't think they're winning 2 games straight in Milwaukee because I haven't seen really anything that tells me I should be confident about that. I think they're going to split games, but they're just a very unsure team when it matters. And, I mean, Giannis just isn't – he's a great interior player, but once you shut down the post on him, he doesn't have the jump shot. Question marks are there about leadership in the fourth quarter. I don't see any way they lose these next 2 games straight unless the Suns just cannot get open shots to fall. That's really the only way I think they win 2 at home. So
yeah, like I said, different. They got to make huge adjustments. Guys got to play better. But I think if they run faster and they play through Giannis has pretty much got to be your point. Like Drew Holiday's the point guard, but he's not really a pass first point guard. He's just a defensive, scrappy combo guard, really can play the 1 or the 2. Giannis is the best playmaker on that team. So if they play through him on the post and just run and run and run and allow them to space the floor with 4 people out, that'll allow them to get people going. People can get jumpers and hopefully get in rhythm, for Milwaukee's sake. Otherwise, it's going to be Giannis trying to do too much, and then does Middleton show up? If he doesn't, down 3-0, and then –
that's it.
5 games.
Once you go down 3-0, nobody's ever came back still, right? In the finals or in any series, no one's came back from 3-0.
I think it's happened in baseball in the World Series a couple years ago, but that's it. It's never happened in the NBA.
Yeah. And this certainly isn't the year it happened, so They got to get tonight. They got to win 2 straight. Realistically, like you mentioned, you think it's gonna happen. They have to do that. There's just you don't come back down 3-1 and expect Drew Holiday, Chris Middleton, and just
Yeah,
unseasoned Giannis to come back. So
must be the night for the Bucks. We think they get it done. He said by 7. I'm going to take Milwaukee by 5. And then, like I said, Giannis 30. Middleton's got to score 30 and just 15 from a role player. They'll get it done. So that's going to wrap it up for us here. Pretty much covered everything. We'll probably jump on at some point maybe and talk about the game, a recap of the game tomorrow. We'll see how it goes. But, we're going to be joining the game, watching the game tonight from Horseshoe. Cold brews, maybe some fajitas, nachos.
Oh,
Who
yeah.
knows?
Cracking brewski. So it'll be great. Let's watch some basketball, man. Get it going.
Yep. I'll be swinging by with the Sixer. Until next time, tip off Suns Bucks, game 3 from Milwaukee. See you guys next time.
Go Suns.